And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another weekend edition of the PondCast. The PondCast episode number 67, your weekly dose of all things StarCraft. I'm, of course, Josai VIP with you and joined by, of course, Kuro handling the production and, of course, by lovely people in the chat as well. Welcome, one and all, to your weekly catch-up show here on the CranKy Ducklings. Again, we've been running this, hosting this for the entirety of the year, actually. And this week we have a little bit of a lighter week of news. No pun intended. Let's go. Let's jump on into it. I say a lighter week. I mean, first things first, a big piece of news here is TLMC voting is finally open. As a reminder, the Team Liquid map contest, we were part of the judging process. You know, we were able to vet through some of the maps. We were able to give our thoughts. There's a video available on YouTube with those thoughts, with our analysis, with our thought process when it came to the judging process, at least on our side of things, on my side of things. And I definitely have learned some things and look forward to maybe doing it again for the next TLMC. But the voting was closed until Wardy's TLMC tournament concluded. And did conclude. It did finally conclude over the weekend, and now that it's concluded, voting is open for only a couple more days. So this is a reminder, if you're in the chat, if you have not yet voted for the Team Liquid map contest, now is the time. Now is the time to vote. Now is the time to make sure that you get in there. Every vote does count. Every vote does matter, of course. There are 16 maps, and I believe you can pick top 5. You can pick your top 5. You can rank them. You can rate them. And top 2 maps will be a part of the next ladder map pool. And then from there, the next set of maps will be determined by a wax, by, of course, a committee, and a lot of thought, a lot of thoughts, a lot of effort is going to be put into constructing the map pool itself, piecing it all together. If you recall, wax, I think it was last week we did mention, or maybe we should have this week, how there was a poll, there was a Reddit poll asking the community, asking the people whether or not there should be a full fresh set of maps or 7 and 2, 4 and 3, like what the ordering of the maps should be, how many should be new, how many shouldn't be new, should we get a full rotation, should we leave a couple? That was left open to the public, to the community. That poll was made over on Reddit, and here, of course, we're here to determine the ratings, the rankings of the top 16 maps in the TLMC 21 map pool. I won't tell you what to vote for, but of course you do already have my thoughts out there regarding these maps. You can watch the video that was posted to YouTube. We went over every map in detail. I will say there are some really good maps here in the map pool. I would say there are some other maps that are not very good, unfortunately, that made it to the top 16, in my opinion, at least. It is my opinion. But some of these maps, they do kind of lend towards more, at least, I would say it's a negative thing, but some of these maps do lend towards a very turtle-heavy style. They favor defensive play quite heavily, and in my opinion, that's something that we want to try to pull away from. You don't want to incentivize too much turtle-heavy play. We already went through this, but I guess briefly, whenever it comes to these large macro maps, if there are some defensive features, that is okay, as long as there are ways to counteract that. As long as, say, the bases are a little bit more spread out, the bases are a little bit more accessible, or there are ways to take advantage of the fact that they're turtling with, say, high yield bases, high yield gas bases, high yield gold bases. Typically, you want something to offset that defensive ability. I will say that there are some maps out there in the top 16 that don't have that are very easy to turtle and defend, but don't necessarily have a way to punish that. And personally, that's something that I push against. So be careful. Be careful. For me, those are maps like Winter Madness. Those are maps like Missing You Today. Those are maps like White Rabbit, especially. True, like White Rabbit. There's definitely a couple of maps out there that do kind of favor that style. That I'm a little bit concerned by. So be careful. The other thing that I will say as well, getting into the voting here, is that I would want you to ideally have a nice balance of maps in your top 5. What I mean by that is that a lot of the maps in this top 16 are quite large. A lot of them are quite large. There are some rush maps, but not many of them. So I would hope that you do vote for some rush aggressive maps and some standard maps as well, and have a nice balance of them to give them a nice kind of ranking. I would say that it's probably a little bit more important that you do vote and place the rush maps a little bit higher, just because there are less of them. Because if it's a little bit too top heavy, and if too many like larger macro maps make it through, then like I would say that's not very healthy for the map pool and for the state of the game. So I would say to be careful regarding that as well. But otherwise, again, kind of go for what you like, go for what you want to go for. Again, there are a lot of tournaments. We featured all these maps quite often on our channel. We hosted all of our tournaments over the past 3 weeks on these TLMC 21 maps. Likewise, Wardy he hosted his TLMC tournament. Recently, the Monday Night Weekly and the Picture Cups also did feature some TLMC tournaments, TLMC maps as well. So there has been a decent amount of content out there with these new maps, so you can kind of get a better idea of what you liked and what you don't like, and yeah, just be a little bit more informed kind of getting into this voting process as well. So best of luck. Best of luck with the voting, and again, it's going to be quite crucial. I still haven't voted myself. I will vote right after the podcast concludes. I'll get my voting in and try to get that going as well. I think I already have my top 5 in mind with how I want to set that up. But regardless, best of luck. As voting concludes on the 19th, on the 19th of October, 3 days. We got 3 days, 3 days before it does conclude. Once it concludes, then it's going to be up to Wax to construct the map pool itself. And I believe the new map pool should be hitting us in November. So a couple of weeks time. I don't know when in November, whether it's early, mid, or late November. That I do not know, but come November, we should be getting the new map pool up and running.
If I recall correctly, the next ladder season also starts in November, so maybe they will try to correlate that, but there is no information.
Yeah, it probably is going to coincide with the new season. So do keep your eyes out for that. When it comes to how we're going to be constructing our tournaments moving forward, we're probably going to pull back just because, once voting concludes, it's a little bit less important to showcase all the maps. So we're probably going to go back to the regular standard ladder map pool with some added TLMC maps intermixed as well. We're probably going to add 4 TLMC maps. We're going to replace some of the older maps in the current ladder map pool. So we're probably going to replace Ley Lines. We're going to replace Ultra Love. We're probably going to replace Last Fantasy and Torches as well. But we'll double check. To see what we get rid of, what we don't. There are definitely some maps that would often get vetoed, so may as well. I mean, it's difficult. It's like if you get rid of the maps that often get vetoed, the new ones are going to get vetoed anyway in their place. So we'll have to think about that and kind of construct the map all ourselves for our tournaments at least. So we'll get there. Meanwhile, that leads us into our next little bit of content, something that we always champion, whether it comes from Shopify, when it comes to Basilisk, that is some content outside of just tournaments, outside of just the game, but a way to really showcase the players and a bit of their skill set as well, and create some content with the players, whether it's with interviews, whether it's with some fun shenanigans that they have at times. We had the coffee with series with Shopify. They had their own internal SC Evo tournament as well, where they were kind of casting and roasting each other. Here we have something similar here for Basilisk. Rainer, he stepped into the analysis chair, and it did actually have a bit of a breakdown of the Serral versus Hero series at Maestros of the Game. This was the lower bracket match, if you recall. A really fun series, best of 7, went all the way to game 7. We casted it ourselves, so you can check it out over on our channel. But Rainer, he did actually have a little bit more of an in-depth breakdown of the series, which was really cool to hear. What I will say when it comes to his analysis, it was really interesting to hear his perspective on what he would do essentially. When it comes to the games themselves, it's more or less what we spoke about getting into it. But it was really interesting to hear Rainer, he would often say this is often what Serral likes to do, but this is what I like to do, sort of thing. He would often compare and contrast his play, Serral's play. A lot of it is very stylistically different, and he would kind of have that kind of angle of analysis, so you can get into his perspective a little bit more, which is really cool to see. There were moments where he would talk about how he's really fond of Ling play, for example, but Serral, he's a little bit more fond of Roach play, which can be more difficult to defend with and difficult to respond with as well. And yeah, it was just really interesting to hear again his perspective and things of that nature as well. Obviously, he's aware as well that just because he plays a certain way doesn't mean that everyone has to. He was also very, very much so giving a lot of credit to Serral with how he does approach things. And yeah, it was really, really kind of fun and interesting kind of analysis from Rainer for sure. And I would hope to see more of this. I would hope to see more of this from Raynor, from maybe even Cyril as well. I know that Raynor, he is maybe a little bit more of a bombastic personality, so I think he maybe brings a little bit more of entertainment value here to the analysis. But it would be nice to get more of this. I wish we got more of this from like Lambo, for example. Like he used to. He used to do a little bit more content-based YouTube videos, I should say, a little bit more like analysis-based YouTube videos at times. But I know he took a bit of a step back from that. He's been streaming a lot recently, but that more preparation-based content has been fallen by the wayside, unfortunately. And it would be nice to get some more of that from people like Lambo, from people like Raynor, from these top players once again. It would be nice. So do check it out. Do recommend for sure. That's over on the Basilisk YouTube channel. I'm sure they have more content in the works as well. Like Basilisk are one of the few teams out there that actually take advantage of their players and actually make something of their players as well. You know, as opposed to say Team Liquid, for example, or some of these other, like I would say big teams, but their attention is elsewhere, right? Like Team Liquid, they have their StarCraft roster, and they're very appreciative of that roster as well. But they don't necessarily make videos like this, you know, with Clem, with Mana. They don't really have the incentive to do so, unfortunately. Whereas Basilisk, they're a little bit more grassroots, they're a little bit closer to their players, and they're more willing and a little bit more devoted, I should say. They have that attention to detail to actually make something of their players. Shopify is very similar as well. The benefit of these quote-unquote smaller teams. But that leads us into our next bit of news, of course, and that is going to be the StarCraft Tabletop Miniatures. The miniatures game that has been in the works. We did speak on that they were going to be showcasing and having a bit of a Q&A, and they've been, you know, they're nearing ever closer and closer to the release of the game. And they have been releasing a bit of promotional here. The fully painted, fully constructed model of Zeratul, which looks really cool, really cool. I wasn't too certain myself if we were going to be like painting them ourselves or if they were going to be coming painted. Based on what we're seeing here, it looks like it is going to be like already like preset.
I think this is actually what it looks like, assembled and painted, but you can get it like and paint it yourself. I think that's how it's gonna be sold, because they specifically said that for example, that the blade is made out of clear plastic, so you can, like, you know, be fancy with like some effects, like some lighting effects against it. But anyway, the important thing is this is a special version of this figure that is specifically made for the, I assume for the Essenspiel, for Spiel Essen, for the convention, and it will be available both at the convention and online, and you can actually get it. Later on, there will be a different Zeratul model that will be, you know, normally available for purchase, but this one is specifically made for the convention.
There you go. So we have the promotional miniature available here, and it looks really nice. Looks really cool. Again, I know a lot of people are looking forward to the miniatures game. I know there's a little like board game enthusiasts out there as well. Some collectors, of course, and yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking forward to the miniatures game finally coming out, and maybe even getting our hands on it as well. Maybe. It would be one of those fun things that to whip out, even say like, I don't know, like a Home Story Cup or something, right? Like to enjoy the game and to play it with some of the other players out there as well, to even stream it. So yeah, looking forward to it. So really cool to see. It's something more unique, something more promotional, and it's possible that we might get some more of this in the future. I'm not saying that we'll get more of this in the lead up to the release of the game, but maybe, you know, they're willing to invest a little bit more into it after the release of the game itself, with more promotional miniatures. If there's any kind of money or any kind of interest in that, it's possible. Regardless, really cool to see that they've released the Zeratul. As you can see, he's standing on the head of a Hydra as well, which is really cool. A nice little added touch to it. As he is the hunter killer. So yeah, really cool, really sick design, and do consider checking it out. The next bit of news is a little bit more unfortunate, kind of. We'll get into it. But it looks like Blizzard has disabled publishing on all accounts, on all regions. If you recall, this is something that they did open up on select accounts relatively recently, like a month ago or so. This was in lieu of the issues plaguing the arcade, where there were some things being uploaded to the arcade which were like against TOS, and Yeah, that was a bit of an issue that was again plaguing the arcade. They tried to step in, tried to stop it. Apparently, they didn't. They did try to limit like who could upload, but apparently, like it was still an issue in the arcade itself. So it looks like they have suspended all publishing, at least currently. Another thing that they mentioned as well, or that Avex mentioned, I should say, he did kind of, for whatever reason, at the very end, did mention and did bring up the Chinese servers. We already brought this up previously, how there was a lot of work being done in the back end of the Chinese servers and potentially some exclusive Chinese content being made as well. This was in lieu of the re-contracting or the new contract that Blizzard have had with NetEase. They finally were able to come to the table. They were able to re-establish themselves, and now NetEase, they're in charge of releasing and publishing the Blizzard titles and Blizzard games in the Chinese region. But it looks like one of the stipulations or something that was a part of that contract, that was a part of that deal, was NetEase actually having a bit of a bigger involvement in the back end, in the development and the release of content for these games exclusive to China, and that may benefit the rest of the regions as well. It depends. Just because again, Avex is talking about here how hey, there's a lot of work being done apparently in the Chinese server. The assumption is that some of that may bleed over into the international version of the game. We hope so, at least, right? We hope that that's going to be the case. It would be a shame if it was only exclusively for the Chinese server that all these updates starts being released. Hopefully, it also kind of bleeds over as well. But I guess we've yet to find out. We'll find out soon, TM. I'm sure soon, TM. And also, apparently, there's no update from Blizzard currently. But I'm sure we'll be getting one soon as well. This is going to be, of course, natively impacting map makers, modders as well, referring to StarCraft Evolution, trying to release their modded version of the game, their updated version of the game, and also even map makers that are trying to update their maps as well, right? Like in preparation for TLMC 21, I'm sure they do want to. I don't think this is going to natively impact, say, the new map pool from being released. I'm sure that's going to be okay, but this is going to be hurting, map makers in general, modders in general as well, at least until this gets rectified. So hoping that that's going to be the case soon. It is a shame, of course, that it has come to this, that there has been no real solution in sight to what's been plaguing the arcade, at least not yet. I guess the hope is that, hey, if we got some developers over in China that are working on StarCraft, maybe they'll fix it. I think that might just be the hope. And that might be what Avex is alluding to. But yeah, with that is kind of the last bit of news here this week. Again, not really too much going on in terms of Star. I may say not too much. Obviously, the TLMC is the big thing for the week. But outside of that, we do get into our tournaments this week. Here we go. We have our results. We have the results here from our amateur tournaments. This week there were no modded events, so there was nothing for say SC Evolution this week, or there was nothing related to say the Patch Clash or the Green Earth mod tournament either. So a little bit lighter in regards to modded events, but for amateur tournaments, we have some updates. We have some results. First, we have the Amateur League Monthly Tournament 45 Initiate Bronze to Platinum. Here we go. So I believe, as it says, monthly tournaments, this was a tournament the players were kind of working up towards and invited to, as the monthlies are typically more seeding based. Unfortunately, we only had 2 players here. We did have Doris up against Jackals, and Doris does take down Jackals 3-0. Only 2 players, so unfortunate that there were less signups for this event. But regardless, congratulations to Doris. And again, if you're out there, if you happen to be more of an amateur player, not GM, there are a lot of tournaments out there that you can compete in. Tournaments for up to platinum, or for diamond players, masters players as well. They are out there. Up next, we have the Amateur League Monthly Veteran Edition. This is for Diamond 3 and Diamond 2. Here we had a little bit more representation. Mako, hey, we know him. We had Mako, we had Ragnar as well, we had Tonsi, we had Glacius. Looks like Ragnar has leveled up from his previous Platinum spots, getting into Diamond. Do love to see it. Mako, he does take down Ragnar 2-0 initially and takes him down 3-2 in the finals. Impressive to see that Ragnar did make a series out of that though. Like, I rate Mako quite highly. He used to compete in our tournaments. He's a Peruvian player. He's a Peruvian Terran. He used to compete in Duckling Open and, of course, in team leagues as well, in amateur team leagues. So really cool to see Ragnar kind of step up and take it to him. GG. GG, well played. That leads us into the Prestige. That leads us into the Diamond 1 to Masters 2 editions of this tournament. Here we have more of our regulars. We have Milka, we have Anatar, we have Defiance, and we have Steez as well. We're missing out on some of the others, though. I will say that. We're missing out on, say, Blade. We're missing out on Dizzydorf as well. Missing on some of our regulars. But Anatar, he does take down Milka 2-1 and Milka 3-1 in the finals as well. Big win here. Congratulations to Anatar. GG, well played. Also does compete in our tournaments, and this is maybe alluding to how well some of our players did perform. Actually, that was last month. I should apologize. But regardless, congratulations to Anatar. Does compete the win. That leads us into the Elite Edition. That leads us into the Masters 1 to GM. Here, unfortunately, not really too much representation. This is something that is pretty standard, I will say, when it comes to the Amateur League monthlies and weeklies as well. It's unfortunate, but because these tournaments don't actually provide any direct prize money and prize pool, pro players are not really interested in competing in this. So here we had Inexorable, and he gets a walkover win. Unfortunately, there's no other competitor for Inexorable, so he does walk away with the win here, which means he does get points to be seeded into the seasonal kind of finale, the seasonal end of season event, which does have prize money. So GG all played at 2 Inexorable. There is value to be playing in these, even if there's no prize money, to get to a tournament that does provide that prize money. Up next, we had our amateur tournaments, and this was...
So Ragnar is saying that monthlies are the same as weeklies, as they are open signups. However, monthlies are more NA time friendly than the weeklies are, I guess. So I guess that's the change between them.
So I guess they're the same, just different time slot. Interesting. But up next, we do have the Sea Duckling Open SDO number 139, the TLMC 21 edition. Once again, we did mention how all of our tournaments for the past 3 weeks have been, almost 4 weeks, have been featuring the Team Liquid Map Contest 21 maps. Same with our amateur tournaments as well. This tournament is for those between the MMR ranges of 0 and 4.2k MMR. This is basically bronze to diamond and low masters, essentially. And here we did have our regulars. We had our regulars showing up and a couple of newer faces as well. We had Horseradish popping off, takes down Libre 2-0, takes down Lauren 2-0, does fall to Last Ketchup, but unfortunately, there was something a little bit awkward in the finals. Last Ketchup was unavailable to compete in the finals this week, or this month, I should say. Did message me at the time. I was, of course, adminning the event, and he didn't know that the event would last as long as it did. He was hoping it would be a little bit shorter, and he was unavailable. So Last Ketchup did forfeit. In that forfeit, that does mean that both Horseradish and Sugar Colt II did have a rematch in the grand finals. It does mean that Last Ketchup unfortunately did forfeit any prize money, so did bow out of the tournament despite making it to the finals. And we had a rematch here. We had Horseradish taking down Sugar Colt 3-0 to become this month's champion. GG, well played. Shout out to Horseradish for claiming the win, and a shout out to Sugar Colt II for coming in second place. Very apt, very fitting with their name. True. GG, well played. And a little bit unfortunate with Last Ketchup, but hopefully next time Last Ketchup is able to compete and able to be present for the entirety of the tournament. Fingers crossed. As that leads us into the Little Mac Master League season number 10. Am I crazy? Did we not go through this?
No,
what did we go through last week?
The other tournament that we covered was Little Mac StarCraft 2 League season 13.
Okay.
These two have been running simultaneously this whole time.
Okay. Okay. Okay, sure. But yeah, so this is for it. This is a tournament for those with below the average MR of 5.4k, and looks like it's also a tournament that was running for a really long time. Apparently, the semifinals were back in July, so it's been months. It's been many months, but the finals finally took place a couple of days ago. Even we had Kamikaze. Kamikaze took down Ryojin 4-3, went all the way to the ace match. Really, a reverse sweep. Oh my god, a reverse sweep as well. Ryojin was up 3-0, and then Kamikaze won 4 games in a row. So a crazy comeback there out of Kamikaze. Miho Nihed took down Azura 2-1 as well. So it was a long time coming. Again, Little Mac took a bit of a break from StarCraft 2, was focusing a lot on Stormgate, and as a result, a lot of these tournaments did fall by the wayside. But really cool to see that finally some of these tournaments have wrapped up. So congratulations to Kamikaze, shout out to Ryojin for second place, Nihed in third, and Azura in fourth place. GG, well played. That leads us into the Patches TLMC 21 Bash number 2. This is another tournament featuring the Team Liquid map contest, featuring those new maps, I should emphasize. And here we had a lot of PvP, let me tell you. We did cast this via replays. Skillers took down Mixu 2-1, took down Special 2-1, took down Cristiano 2-0, and then Cristiano 4-2 in the grand finals. Skillers popping off. It's great to see Skillers active once again. Skillers did take some time off after EWC. He took a break. He did take a break. A lot of players did, but Skillers, he's back. He has returned. If you recall, it wasn't too long ago where Skillers did actually tweet about his series against Clem, how he had a really good showing against him and how he was looking forward to playing against him again. He has been back on that grind, and that has been showing in these tournament results. Cristiano had a good showing himself. He took down Geralt twice to make it to the finals and did make Skillers bleed, but in the end, couldn't quite keep up. What I will say, something that was a little bit unfortunate about this tournament was that this tournament was designed to showcase and feature the new maps, but because there were so many PvPs, in the end, I would say that the maps didn't really matter too much. Like in certain mirror matchups, like the maps don't really come into play and we don't really get to experience too much of what the map has to offer as opposed to some of the other matchups. So I mean, it was a good tournament, but I feel like if the goal was to showcase the maps and how unique they are and how different they can play out, this a lot of these matches didn't really succeed in showcasing that, which was a bit of a shame, just because of the nature of PvP. As there were a lot of one-based all-ins, a lot of proxies, a lot of Blinkstalker-based play and mid-game play. We had some big mid-game as well, but again, like the maps weren't really too influential. Not too much. As that leads us into the next big tournament, that leads us into the Wardy TV TLMC map contest number 15. This was the event that was delayed, unfortunately. It was delayed, so it had to delayed start. I mean, for good reason. You know, Wardy got married, right? Wardy had a wedding, Wardy got married, so Wardy had a little bit less time. So this event was pushed back a little bit. So that did delay some things, but in the end, it finally took place, and we were able to feature and showcase all of the new maps. Let's go. We initially had the group stage, which we were going over last week, but in said group stage, we did have... I think Group C was, we were in the middle of Group C at the time that we were hosting our tournament. Hosting the PondCast. But in Group C, we had Hero, Björn, and Yang Yakov making it out of Group C. I believe I predicted Hero, Björn, and Geralt. But Geralt did struggle a little bit more. Harsem didn't make it through, and Yang Yakov advanced on instead of Harsem and Geralt. Very impressive. Impressive play there by Yang Yakov. Group D, we had Classic, Raynor, and Lambo. I think I went Classic, Raynor, and Mana. I think I had faith in Mana to make it out of that one. And Mana barely did not make it through. Lambo clutched it out instead. Bunny also had a bit of a subpar performance. I feel like we expect more at times out of Bunny, but he did struggle. He did go to the ace match against both Mana and Lambo, but going to the ace match was not good enough. Likewise, Mana took a map off of Raynor. Impressive. He took down Bunny, of course, but did fall 0-2 to Lambo. That leads us into the playoffs, the playoff bracket. Here we had Björn. Björn takes down Lambo 3-0. Maxwex takes down Ryung 3-1. Zhao takes down Yang Yakov 3-0. And Raynor takes down Cure 3-2. I would say no crazy upsets there. Really cool to see Raynor and Cure going the distance, though. I think I brought this up last week when we saw the group stage, but Cure has been very inactive. He's been very inactive. So I was very happy to see Cure a part of this tournament because Cure hasn't really played him much. Let me just double check here. Cure, his last couple of matches, in October, that's all he really played was the Wardy TV, the TLMC tournament. TLMC tournament, that's all he played in Wardy. Sorry, in October. He played in the Kung Fu Cup Random Invitational where he just played random. And before that, he played in September. So again, specifically this month, I should emphasize, right? Like he played quite a lot in September, but specifically this month in October, he played in a random invitational and TLMC. That's it. That's all he played in. So it looks like Cure has been taking a break, but it was really cool to see him return from his break to play in this tournament. So really cool. And despite him being on a bit of a break, he still goes to the ace match against Raynor. So impressive play. Coming into the quarterfinals, we had Clem. Clem takes down Björn 3-2. I will say that was surprisingly close. Like I usually favor Clem over Björn a little bit harder than that. So to see that go to the ace match bodes well for Björn. I know that Björn has been working on his TVP as of late. The new patch has impacted TVP quite heavily. And Björn has been negatively impacted as a result, just because of Bjorn's playstyle. Bjorn is very macro-oriented, and he's very much so known for rushing ghosts, so he has had to adjust. And something that we did take note of this week is that TUP has been evolving quite a bit, to the point where we are in, if you remember, we were theory crafting at the time when the patch was released, that we would be seeing more faster second starports and delayed academies. That's what we've been getting. So that's what has been happening in TVP, is that the academy has been delayed more and the second starport has been rushed out more as well. The reasoning for this is because now it is more common to open up Colossus. It isn't the Storm that's the issue here. It's that Colossus are becoming more and more normal, more and more standard as an opener, and Terran players have had to adjust over time to that. And relying a little bit more on more Viking play. So the meta is shifting, and I feel like the meta is probably going to shift back to Storm again. That's typically how things go, is that players, they play a certain way, a certain style. The other race kind of adapts to that, and then as a result, the Protoss race will have to adapt to that as well and adjust. So there's that kind of ebb and flow of TVP that's always kind of in the mix. MaxPax takes down Classic 3-0, very impressive. But again, MaxPax, he has been actively working on his mirror matchup, so really impressive play there from MaxPax. Takes down Classic 3-0. Zaun takes down Spirit 3-2. Once again, really impressive play there out of Spirit. I kind of glossed over it before, but I was shocked to see that Spirit, he advanced on out of Group A in first place, and he even went all the way to the ace match against Zaun here. Like, I don't think too highly of Spirit at the moment. Like, Spirit, he's been... I feel like he peaked like maybe a year ago, but this year, 2025, Spirit has had a lackluster performance. Like, Spirit, he has been looking less practiced and less engaged and less devoted to StarCraft, and like it's been showing in his play. Like, he's had a rough 2025. So towards the tail end here in the new patch, in the new map pool, to see Spirit pop off and come out in first place with a group of MaxPax and Q and Rogue, and to go to the ace match against Zaun, that's really cool to see. Like, Spirit, for whatever reason, he's back. Like, it feels like he's motivated again. Really cool to see. Meanwhile, Hero takes down Raynor 3-1 in the quarterfinals. That leads into the semis. MaxPax takes down Clem 3-2, went all the way to the ace match. Again, this is a matchup that is still kind of in flux. TVP, I mean, it's still in flux. It's still kind of being worked out, and players are still kind of finding their footing here. MaxPax takes down Clem. Hero takes down Zaun, and Hero takes down MaxPax 4-2. Again, when it comes to the top Protoss players out there, Classic, MaxPax, and Hero, they often trade back and forth. I'm impressed to see that Classic didn't take a map off of MaxPax in their series. I typically expect that to be a little closer, regardless of how it goes, like here in the finals, for example. So it wasn't too one-sided, it wasn't a 4-0, it was a 4-2, and Hero takes on MaxPax. But again, depending on the tournament, depending on the week, depending on the day, Hero beats MaxPax, and then Classic beats Hero, and then MaxPax beats Classic, and then MaxPax beats Hero, and then Hero beats Classic, and then, like, they all trade. Like, the three of them, they do trade. Like, it all depends on who's feeling better on the day, who is more in form, and of course the games themselves can also be a little bit coin flippy as well, depending on mind games and predicting builds and predicting play. It's quite intense between the three of them. So GG well played. Hero, he is going to be our champion. He's going to be our TLMC 21 champion, or sorry, Team Liquid Map Contest Tournament 15 champion. A little bit weird that it's not lined up with the TLMC tournament name, number I should say. So the numbers are a little bit off, but it's fine. It's it's fine. So GG well played. Congratulations to Heroes. He is our champion. PvP finals. It's the era we live in, papi. For the past 5 years, it's fine. It's fine. Congratulations. And I hope that the games. I hope that a lot of different maps are able to be showcased, and I hope it was beneficial. I myself have yet to watch any of these games. I might over the weekend, maybe, just to kind of get an idea of how some of these maps were being played, just to get a bit of a gauge on whether my assumption of some of these maps were accurate or not. But there are a lot of games to watch here, and it's a lot to go through. So we'll see. Unfortunately, when it comes to these Wardy events, like, there's only ever one English stream, so we weren't able to cast it ourselves. I think we could probably cast it via replays, but at the same time, like, it's okay. It's okay. We're taking it easy coming into October, so regardless, GG well played to Hero. And again, I hope the games themselves were solid. I hope they were good. I hope they were fun. I hope the maps were showcased in a good light. So you can definitely check out those VODs over on Wardy's channel or on your respective preferred language, as of course, there was plenty of other languages covering the event as well. That leads us into our regional events and into our show matches. Up first, we do have the Code for Giants Cup. Code for Giants Cup number 26. This is a bi-weekly Brazilian-only tournament, and this is where we do feature regulars like Master, like Shakti, like Inexorable. Eric, ever since the big offline event in Sao Paulo, Eric has been on hiatus, so Eric has not been a part of this event for quite some time. Bit of a shame here, but typically Master, he comes out on top. Like Master, he's the dominant force in the region if some of the other big names aren't here. Eric isn't here. But this week, Inexorable pops off. Inexorable takes that Master 2-0 and Shakti 3-0 as well. Very impressive play here from Inexorable. Inexorable, he has been MIA for quite some time in these tournaments. He was not a part of Code for Giants Cup number 25. He was a part of 24, but he came second place to Master. Here, a couple of editions later, he gets his revenge. Doesn't drop a single map in the entire tournament. Impressive. GG well played. Very impressive play there by Inexorable. He makes up for not playing anything during the Amateur League monthly. So he does make up for that by popping off here, plays his games, and then dominates. So really impressive play. And also really cool to see Shakti again. Shakti also didn't drop a map until the finals. He also 2-0'd Kamikaze. So really cool to see Shakti return. He's been very, I would say he's been very irregular when it comes to these tournaments. Very inconsistent. He's been very inconsistent when it comes to his signups, when it comes to his participation. So it's like every now and then he shows up. Whatever he does, always a treat. Always a treat. So much love to Shakti. That leads us into Code for Giants Cup, the LATAM edition number 3. So again, this is a monthly tournament. The regular Code for Giants Cups are bi-weeklies every fortnight. This is a monthly. Here we had Juanito. Juanito, he takes down Kamikaze 2-0, takes down Master 2-1. Master did force the ace match. I do feel like Master's probably the biggest threat to Special, maybe Mute as well. Like Master and Mute, they're the two best Protoss players in all of Latino America. When it comes to Zerg players, yeah, Eggs, he's a little bit out of practice, I would say, but he's probably, actually, sorry, I was gonna say he's probably like the best Zerg player in Latino America. Second best to Cham. Cham right now. Like Cham, he is, and also Eric. Yeah, true. Like Eggs. Eggs, he's like top 5. He's like top 5 Zerg player in Latino America. Unfortunately, Eric, remember, he's on hiatus, right? He's on hiatus. He's on a break. And Cham, nowhere to be found. He should be here. Cham, he should be here, but alas, there is no Cham. Without Cham, Juanito pops off. Again, Master and Mute, I would say, are his biggest threats. Eggs did take down Mute. Very impressive. Very impressive play there by El Huevito. But Juanito does get the win over Eggs 3-0. GG. GG will play 2 Special. Does claim the tournament. That leads us into El Torneo Boliviano. Chucuta Gamer 5.0. Interesting name of the tournament, but we have a Bolivian tournament here featuring players that we have not seen in quite some time. Once again, Darka named, he has returned. I mean, he's been back for like a couple of months, I want to say. Like he suddenly showed up again, and it's been really cool to see Darka named active once again as well. In his absence, I would say that Ryojin is the best player in Bolivia. But now that Darka named has returned, it hasn't taken too long at all, but he is now back on top. He's now back on top. Takes down Ryojin 4-2 in the grand finals. Very impressive play here. Other notables were Watch. Watch was here, Ryojin, of course, and Darka named claiming the win. Very impressive play. Darka named, for those who do not know, he wasn't just the best player in Bolivia. He was one of the best Zerg players in Latino America. And back when it was a bigger region, of course, when we had Jaime, Jim Rising, we had Eric, we had Cham, we had Ryu as well, we had Universe, we had Eggs, El Huevito, we had Egg, just regular Egg. From Argentina, we had so much Zerg representation, so much Zerg. The Zerg Lord, true, the Zerg Lord as well, and many others, all were thriving, all were competing, and Darka named was one of the best Zerg players up there as well. One of the best Zergs. And then, of course, he retired. He did retire many years ago at this point and recently came back. Still retired, but like has been dipping his toes back into StarCraft. It's been great to see his return. So much love to Darka named. Much love. One of the first like big like pros that we ever casted. So much love to Darka named. That leads us into our out of the Latin American region. That leads us into the 2025 Monkey Fights Junior Finals. Oh boy. Sponsored by Babu. Oh, So my Bible. Here we did have a more CIS focused tournament here, and it looks like this was for I believe for younger players, right? If I'm not mistaken. I think there was like an age restriction or something along those lines. But they also did make sure that they didn't allow like some of these other like bigger names in. So again, a little bit more of an amateur tournament. That's kind of how we should approach this. And we did have DeWalt. DeWalt, he made his return. He actually went down early. What other big notables are there? We have Naji. I'll be honest, I'm not familiar with many of these except for DeWalt. I think DeWalt is the only one with the Wikipedia page. No,
I want
Naji
to
as well.
say,
Okay.
I just like the name Fish on Fire. That's all I want to add. It's a good name.
Yes, yes.
Also, we had
On fire.
another
Let's
in the
go.
bracket.
In the group stage, right?
Yes,
Yeah, he
in
was
the
on the
group
group stage.
stage.
Yeah. So we did have who do we have? We had Renamel. We had Renamel making a deep run here through the upper bracket, takes down Divination, takes down Taleb, and takes down Naji 3-0. But in the rematch, Naji gets his revenge. Naji does take down Renamel 4-1, and is going to be our seasonal final, or at least our initial Monkey Fights Junior champion. Congratulations here to Naji. Again, a player that I'm very unfamiliar with. Like when I think of the CIS region and when I think of the up-and-comers, I think of players like Gigi Machine. I think of players like Mini Zerg as well. True. I think of Mini Zerg. I think of Zardiant. But yeah, I'm a little bit unfamiliar with Naji. So interesting. Really cool to see him compete and place well to win the tournament, and hopefully does gain motivation to continue to compete, to continue to improve, and to strive to higher heights as well. GG, well played here to Naji, the junior champion. That leads us into the Japanese weeklies. That leads us into the Legacy Weekly Japan 475 Open. Where is my tapioca? no tapioca this week. No tapioca. As Deadly Kitten does take down Kuzumon 2-0, takes down Sayark 2-1 as well. In the absence of Boba, in the absence of tapioca, Deadly Kitten does claim the win. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Deadly Kitten. Does take down Sayark 2-1. I would say that again, we've seen a lot of impressive play out of Deadly Kitten in recent times, and I would say that Deadly Kitten is top 2 in Japan right now, above everyone else, above Sayark, but below Tapioca. But yeah, has kind of risen through the ranks over the past couple of months, quite nicely. So big shout out to Deadly Kitten. Big shout outs. That leads us into the Elpis Team League 2025 Full Code A. We are still in the round robin group stage, of course. We're still in the group stage, still in the main season, and we just wrapped up with round 3. This is for both Code A and Code S. Here in Code A, we did have the second division of Starlight Twinkle take down Rookie Warpgate 4-3, went all the way to the ace match. Once again, we have some players I'm a little bit less familiar with, but who am I familiar with? I'm familiar with Pioneer. Pioneer takes down his opponent 2-0, and then Xing Ming, who I would say is the captain of the second division of Starlight Twinkle, takes down Glorium 2-0 and takes down Pioneer 1-0 in the ace match. Xing Ming carrying here Starlight Twinkle. Very impressive. GG, well played. Meanwhile, we have Histon Toss Team 2 up against their opponents as well. They do win 4-2. And then we have 4 Leaf Clover. They get the 6-0 win over the second team of Rookie Warpgate, as they do win 6-0, winning every single game 2-0. GG, well played. Again, this is a Chinese team league. This is a Chinese team league for Chinese teams, and they are mid-season, rounding off with round 3, and we have, of course, 7 rounds left of the round-robin group stage. That leads us into the Code S edition, where the top teams, where the top players are facing off. Here we have Hist. Hist takes down Astartes 5-1. Char gets his win. We do see TATP tying with his opponent as well. In the end, they did claim the series. Then we have Elpis versus PCEC. Elpis, of course, being one of the bigger teams in the league. We have Lemon, who is the ace player, takes down his opponent 2-0. We had a tied scoreline after that. We had Mixu taking down his opponent 2-0 as well, and went all the way to the finals. And who beat Mixu? Who is? Oh, that's Tsunami. God, one of these days we're gonna have some some standardization here. I don't know if you notice, but very often for players like Nanami, for Silky, for Suniko as well, sorry, for Tsukino, very often, sometimes they use their like Romanized name in a bracket, and sometimes they add the Chinese characters instead. And it's like, guys, can we please have some order here? God damn it. So yes, that's Nanami. That's Nanami. Chiaki does take down Mixu. I mean, I do favor Nanami for sure. Nanami Chiaki is one of the stronger players on Elbus. I mean, Elbus just have a really solid lineup. So Gigi will play. Nanami Chiaki does claim the win. That leads us into Starlight Twinkle versus Kaoda. And Starlight Twinkle, as we mentioned last time, is the best the best team, the ace team in the league. They've got Triple H, Jolo Loves, and Young Zest, and they all win their matches 6-0. And they were not up against like no names either. They were up against Ghost, Winter, and Turn. So pretty high profile opponents. Despite that, they do claim the dominant win 6-0. GG will play it. Again, Starlight Twinkle, they are the team to look for. They are the team to look at just because their roster of Protosses is very deep. With Jolo Loves, with Young Zest, with Rewhite, and with Triple H. So they got a hefty lineup of Protoss. Up next, we had Little Fairy. Little Fairy up against the Herd Project. So we had Ear. Ear takes down Compass 2-0. We had Ghost Runner and his opponent tied 1-1. And Daydreamer and his opponent tied 1-1 as well. Came down to Ear claiming that win. Little Fairy also have like that X factor just because they have, we mentioned this last time, when it comes to these Chinese teams, they do have like some like quote unquote mercenaries that they have. I say mercenaries, they have some players, some pickups from outside of the region that do pull their weight and that can pop off. An example of that, we just glossed over it, for PCEC, they have Mixu, right? For PCEC, their ace player is Mixu, and they can try to rely on him to carry them far. For Little Fairy, they have Shameless. If you notice, though, they didn't field Shameless. I guess they didn't need to. True, they won anyway. But Little Fairy, they have Shameless. Shameless, he's a big hitter as well. He's arguably the best player in the entire league. But the reality is that it's a team league. One player doesn't make a team, which is what is scary about Starlight Twinkle, where they have like a solid roster, not just one star player. But of course, there's Shameless for Little Fairy, there's Mix for PCEC, and I feel like there's a couple of others. I think like Moja joined one of these teams for a brief time. Sometimes they bring in like players like Moja or Percival. He was on Little Fairy for a little bit as well. Oh, have their players. So I was just trying to look for another one of the more like international players competing. But otherwise, that is the conclusion of round 3. That leads us into our next tournaments. This was an invitational show match at Little League Cup 46. We haven't had some of these Little League Cups in quite some time, and I would imagine the reason why we brought it back is because the weeklies are on hiatus, right? The Little League Cup weeklies are on hiatus currently. Because they're on hiatus, we do have the return of Little League Cup number 46, the invitational. It was an 8-player invitational, unfortunately not on the TLMC 21 maps. So not on the new map pool, unfortunately, but still a really high-profile tournaments regardless. Creator takes down Percival 3-0. Shin takes down Beyond 3-0. Hero takes down Rogue. And Clem takes down Classic. And Clem, he pops off. He may have struggled in the previous TLMC tournament against Max Max, but those were on foreign maps. Here, on the current ladder map pool, on the patch, Clem pops off in TVP, takes down Classic 3-1, takes down Hero 3-1, and takes down Creator 4-0. Dominant TVP performances here by Clem. Very impressive. I didn't mention this previously here, but the TVP matchup is still selling. We were discussing about how in the meta we have seen a rise in popularity of delayed academies and faster starports because of how common it is for players to open up Colossus. And in general, Clem, I mean, a lot of the Terran players have been adapting, have been adjusting, and have been slowly gaining more success. Despite that, we did see that Creator popped off. Like, I don't want to gloss over that. Creator, he 3-0'd Percival, to be expected. He 3-0'd Shin. That's impressive. I mean, PVZ has also been affected by the new patch. True, but I haven't seen those games, so I don't want to take too much. I don't want to like speculate too much about that series. I can assume how that went though. And Clem with the 4-0 over Creator. Very impressive, very dominant play there by Clem. Clem does claim the tournament and is the Little League Cup number 46 champion. GG, well played. And I feel like the graphic is very fitting as well. you got Clem in the middle with his glasses, Pappy. Let's go. Very fitting, very fitting. This is really the best part of Little League Cups, the invitationals, is the fact that they put like the minimum amount of effort, like photoshopping everything together here. For example, like Percival's hair. God damn it. They just there was no attempt to to cut out the white parts in between to make it transparent. No. They just cut around the head is good enough. God damn it. Much love to whoever does the graphics for Lily Cup. Always. With that leads us into the OSC events of the week. That leads us into the OSC Elite Rising Star. This week we did have another day conclude for the event. Oh my apologies. The entire tournament concluded here. Let's go. A little bit out of nowhere. Last we left off, we were in the upper brackets. Art took down Art 2-1. Percival took down Young Yakov 2-1. Percival took down Art, and I would have said that Percival was favored to win the entire event, but Young Yakov, it comes in from behind, takes down Nicorak, takes down Shameless 3-2, almost got knocked out. Shameless, he almost took down Young Yakov. Shameless, he had a deep run. If you look at Shameless, he got knocked down early. It was an upset, but Shameless got knocked down very early on in the tournament, and you can see him claw his way back up from the lower bracket, taking down Inexorable, Baby Marine, Bappy, Art, but did meet his end at the hand of Young Yakov, and Young Yakov pops off, winning the entire OSC Elite Rising Star 16 tournament. GG, well played. Very impressive play here, very impressive performance by Young Yakov. So very impressive play. That, I guess, coincides with the TLMC tournament we featured earlier, where Young Yakov did also outperform players like Geralt and Harstam. So really impressive play. That leads us into the OSC 2025 mid-season playoffs number 2. Another big event that has been slowly progressing here as well. We have updates from the upper bracket. Solar 2-0s Christianer, advancing on to the winners semifinals. We have Kior takes down Percival 2-1. Impressive to see that Percival did take a map off of Cure. Maxfax takes down Carol 2-0, and Beyond takes down Harstam 2-0 as well. So no major upsets here outside of the one game that Percival took off of Cure. So really impressive play there by Percival. Scoring down the lower bracket. Ooh, unfortunately, some walkovers. Lemon did forfeit against Goblin, and Eba did forfeit against Jumi. Really unfortunate there. Those are best of 5s in the lower brackets. Again, Eba has been less active as of late. Lemon hasn't been less active, so it's a bit of a shame that he didn't compete. I can definitely see Lemon taking it to Goblin. Unfortunately, didn't quite take part. Cham took down Nice. If you remember, we were looking for Cham for the Latin American tournaments. He was here, and hey, strong performance there by Cham. Ryung takes down Moja, and Cham is up against Ryung in the lower bracket round 2. Meanwhile, Trigger takes down Mana. Trigger's up against Jumi. We have non-stop PvPs. We have Trigger versus Jumi into Christianer. It's a lot of PvP there. Likewise, Skills versus Abessus into Goblin into Harstam. So a lot of PvPs in the center of the brackets. We have Nicorak versus GG Machine and Spirit versus Creator. Ooh, that is a brutal lower bracket match. Jesus. Spirit and Creator is going to be brutal, especially considering we were just praising Spirit for being in form, right? Right now, he is in form. He is someone that can threaten Creator regardless of who goes down. That is a big name going down early in the tournament. So it is unfortunate. It is unfortunate. Best of luck. And we can really only speculate as to how this tournament progresses. Again, this is a tournament that typically does get casted by the community, by the greater community, sometimes ourselves, sometimes Steadfast, sometimes Wardy, sometimes Chicken Man, Dave Testa, depending on whoever is available. So we're slowly working through. We're working through it, and this should be wrapping up in the next month, maybe 2 months at most. We're getting there. All right, getting there. That leads us into the OSC Masters Cup 150 qualifiers. Again, this is a yearly event. It's an annual. There we go. It's an annual tournament, sponsored by OSC and organized by Dave Testa. Dave Testa, he does put a lot of resources into this event on an annual basis, and the qualifiers have been underway. Okay, so we do have the initial Elite Qualifier number 1. This is for OSC Elite members, and I believe in this event, how many? Top 4. Top 4 do make it through. Wait, is this currently?
So I believe the qualifiers, just like the OSC tournaments, are casted at a later time. So they play and then they cast the matches. So yes, this will take a while.
That's not confusing. Wait, what? But if they're played later, then who? I guess you can't double dip. I guess. Like, as in,
I have no
someone that
idea.
competes in qualifier 1 can't compete in qualifier 2, right?
I do not know, but it says reporters are likely to add is some of the series won't be published until they're broadcasted. So they are
Yeah.
broadcasted at a later time. That's all I
No,
can tell you.
yeah. They played ahead of time. I'm assuming. I guess let me just double check here. So, no. There's multiple players in multiple tournaments.
I guess maybe because they already know that they didn't make it, but then that's also a spoiler. I don't know.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. Okay. So here we have so qualifier 1. So we have the elite qualifier number 1. So top 4 do make it through. Apparently we don't have confirmed top 4 players except for Björn. I guess Björn is qualified. Björn takes down Homono 2-0, takes down Nickrak 2-0, and he qualifies for the event. Meanwhile, Percival takes down Ledlix, Geralt takes down Jan Yakov, and Percival versus Geralt is still yet to be casted. We can make some assumptions though that potentially they both qualified actually. Because you have one qualified, then the loser goes down to face off against Homono, and my assumption is that they won. And the reasoning for that is because Homono plays the next 2 qualifiers. So my assumption is that Björn is qualified, Percival is qualified, Geralt is qualified, and the winner of Nickrat and Jan Yakov is also qualified as well. Let me just double check here, and it looks like it's Nickrat. Oh, hey, shout out to Nickrat. He takes down Jan Yakov. Let's go. So Björn, Percival, Geralt, and Nickrat, it looks like they are the qualified players through the first qualifier, and then that leads us into qualifier number 2. And again, one of the reasons why we made some assumptions there is that 1, Homono played in this qualifier as well, and Jan Yakov also played in this qualifier alongside him. So we assume that they did not make it through the first qualifier. So here we had Jimmy. Jimmy takes down Yudi Soldier. Jimmy's up against Jan Yakov for a qualifying match. Rebellion gets a walkover over Christiana. Ooh, that is unfortunate if he's unavailable to compete. As a result, Rebellion qualifies. It looks like, is this still top 4? Yep, top 4. Top 4 qualifies. So Rebellion qualifies. The winner of Jimmy and Jan Yakov will qualify. Quickly double checking here. Do we have any indication? It looks like maybe they both qualified. Who else do we have? We have Sebestus, Christiana, and Yudi Soldier. This I can't glean who did and who didn't make it through based on the next qualifier. So yeah, we had Jimmy, Jan Yakov, Sebestus, Christiana, and Yudi Soldier. Hard to say who will make it through. My assumption is both Jimmy and Jan Yakov will qualify alongside Rebellion and Christiana as well, if Christiana plays, right? If he forfeited against Rebellion, he might forfeit against Yudi Soldier, and then Yudi Soldier, he might just get the walkover win and qualify for the event. It is possible. It is possible. So best of luck to the players. That leads us into the open qualifier. Here in the open qualifier, there's Homono still. So so we did have Farmy. Farmy takes down Replicant 2-1. Big win there for Farmy. Farmy takes the map off of Salt. Farmy's popping off. Once again, top 2 qualify for this event. Interesting. So we have Solar. He takes down Homono 2-1. Inexorable takes down Lilix 2-1. And I'll say that Solar's favored to win that series. That is a qualifying match. Homono, he does fight his way up in the lower brackets. And we most likely are going to be seeing a TBT between Inexorable and Homono for that final qualifying match. Who do we favor in a TBT? I might actually favor Homono. It's a hard one to call. Homono is an animal. He's an animal. He's a beast. And that series could go either way. I think I lean towards Homono there. So we could see Homono a part of the main event. Could be a part of that main event. Now, these are the initial qualifiers. And we already have, I guess, 8 players confirmed from the first and second qualifier. We have 2 yet to fully confirm for the open qualifier, and then we have 10 invited. Then we have 10 invited players. I would hope that some of the invited players are going to be some of the players that failed to qualify but fought really hard. Like, it would be a shame if, we had some players that put a lot of work and effort into these qualifiers, didn't make it through, and didn't get invited. So I hope they get invited, but it's at the discretion of Eddie and Dave. It's going to be at their discretion as to who they invite. This leads into, as you can see on the Wikipedia page for Masters Cup 150, leads into a massive group stage, into a massive playoff bracket as well. And again, this should all be casted by Dave Testa. Should all be casted by Dave. And again, it's going to be a big, massive tournament. Best of luck to all those involved. Best of luck. A 600 USD prize pool. So big prize pool, big tournament. That leads us into the Open Cups. This week's Open Cups here. First, we do have the Roddy Stream Rumble. This is more of like a. This is more of like an. What's what I'm looking for? Sporadic. This is more of like a sporadic tournament that it does run every now and then. Whenever there's not a Monday Night Weekly or another or like a KSRC, then Roddy does host these. More sporadic, yeah, more sporadic. Here we did have in general an Open Cup. Just double checking, like there's no like MR restriction or like random tournament or anything like that. Here we had Geralt. Geralt takes down Lelix 2-0, Fiant 2-1, Nicorak 2-1, and Nicorak 2-0. Geralt did come in as the highest seeded player, of course. Nicorak would have been the biggest threat to Geralt, and he did take some maps, but does fall in the end. Congratulations to Geralt for winning the entire tournament, for claiming the win over Nicorak. GG. GG, well played. This was on the regular ladder map pool. A little bit unfortunate, but again, wasn't the regular ladder map pool. That leads us into the KSL, the Korean StarCraft League number 81. This was unfortunately also on the regular ladder map pool as well. Here we had, we had a lot of PvP and a lot of PvT as well. We had Creator. Creator takes on Bunny 2-1. Hero takes on Creator 2-0. Big win there for Hero. Classic takes down Bjorn 2-1, and then we had a Hero versus Classic in the finals. Hero does take down Classic 3-0. We of course did cover this event live, and it was a pretty intense set of matches as well. I think we were focusing on Creator. Sorry, we casted a Creator Gilliman into Bunny, into Hero, into Classic. That was the road that we covered. I don't think we got to cast much of Classic versus Bjorn, unfortunately. I think we missed out on a couple of those games. But Hero and Classic, they were very in each other's face, very intense, very aggressive, and Hero does take the win. As we mentioned previously during this podcast, Hero, Classic, and MaxPax, they often trade, they often go back and forth. Hero recently took down MaxPax, Hero takes on Classic here. We can very easily see a tournament where Classic beats Hero, and MaxPax beats Hero as well. Like they often trade back and forth, depends who's in form on the day. But we do typically give Hero the edge. Like Hero, he has arguably the best PvP in the world. Arguably. So GG well played. Hero does claim the win. Once again, is going to be another KSL champion. That leads us into this week's Sparkling Tuna Cup number 109. And of course, it's our tournament, TLMC 21 edition. We did have a full map pool of TLMC 21 maps. And here we had a player that we haven't seen in quite some time, Bunny. Bunny, he is not the most active in our tournaments. More regulars are players like Bjorn, players like Shin, Creator, Nightmare. Bunny, this is not his first time, but again, a little bit less active in these tournaments. So really cool to see Bunny once again. Bunny takes down Nicorak 2-1. Bunny takes down Percival 2-0, but I don't want to gloss over this because Percival takes down Creator. Very impressive play there. That Percival has been getting better and better results. Took a map of Cure earlier, and here he does take down Creator as well. Very impressive play out of Percival. Bjorn takes down Geralt, and Bjorn takes down Bunny 3-1. Honestly, the TVT finals was really short. I want to say there was one macro game. I think the series, if I remember correctly, the series ended on a macro game. But game 1, 2, 3, very aggressive. And we spoke about this during the Patches tournament about how, unfortunately, mirror matchups, they don't really get to showcase much of the features of the map. It was the case here as well, where Bjorn and Bunny, they were hyper aggressive, proxying each other, being in each other's faces, and the games ended really quickly. The games on Andromeda, Missing You Today, and Mothership ended very, very quickly. I think on Risen Memory, that was the most macro game that we had, and it was really cool. Like, the game slowed down, we had more of a back and forth, it got really intense. That was maybe the highlight of the series and the highlight of the tournament, but outside that, we had some really short games, so we didn't really get to experience the maps too much here. I think we got more out of the maps between Bjorn and Geralt, to be honest. But congratulations to Bjorn, of course, and shout out to Bunny for coming in second place. You know, maybe Bunny, he heard about the bunnies. Maybe. that's why he showed up. He's like, yo, I heard my people were a part of the stream now. I gotta hop in. I gotta be there. True. So shout out to Bunny for joining Chichi and Karina. True. And of course, congratulations to Bjorn for the first time winning the random raffle. And I still remember, like, when we told him, this was before the finals, we told Bjorn that he had won the random raffle, and he was like, I'm crying right now, I'm so happy. He was like, finally. Bjorn. Shaking my head. So congratulations to Bjorn for winning the raffle, and for, I guess, also winning the tournament. I guess not as important, but also did happen. That leads us into the Water TV Monday. Water TV Monday number 55. This is, of course, our weekly open tournaments. Once again, unfortunately, regular ladder map pool. Unfortunately, just regular ladder map pool for this weekly. Here we had Max Max. Max Max takes down Beyond 2-0, takes down Mana 2-0, Lambo 2-0. What I will say very quickly is that it was really cool to see some Zerg representation. That's what I appreciated most out of this open tournaments that we did cast, of course, was that we had Lambo and we had some Rogue. So we had two Zergs. We had two Zerg players, so really cool to see them take place and take part. Rogue had a big upset. He took down Classic. We did cover that series, and it was very intense, is what I will say. Classic, he was a little bit greedy. He was overly greedy, overly confident. He was punished for that greed, punished for that confidence, and Rogue shut him down. There was also a game where Classic got stuck on carrier tech. He did not take up into Tempest until the very end of the game. I think it was like a 21-minute Tempest, where he finally started making Tempest. This is after, like, again, he was maxed out, he was trading, he was rotating. Took him a long time. He was up against Broodlord Infestor, and because of his late switch into Tempest, basically he never really got there, because he died as he was transitioning. He was just stuck on carrier for so long. He got overwhelmed, he got outscaled, and Rogue shut him down. Rogue did shut him down, so he pressed to play. Hero had a much more dominant performance out of Rogue. He was able to gain early advantages. And then, of course, we had Clem taking down Hero, getting his revenge. Remember, Hero took down Clem earlier. Clem takes down Hero. And here, Max Max takes down Clem once again. We saw Max Max take down Clem earlier in the TLMC tournament, and we're seeing it here as well in the finals of the Wardy TV Monday. What I will say that this was a relatively fast series. Clem went for a lot of all-ins. He went for a lot of all-ins, a lot of proxies. He was hyper aggressive against Max Max, and we didn't really get to see too much mid to late game between the two of them. It was a much more aggressive and fast series. But Max Max was our winner, was our champion, so congratulations. That leads us into the Monday Night Weekly. Finally, TLMC edition. It took like a month, but finally some of the other weeklies decide to actually step in and get involved with the TLMC tournaments. So shout out to TKL, Comeback TV, and those working behind the scenes for making this a reality, for actually showcasing some of these newer maps. We were featuring 10,000 Feet, Andromeda, Celestial Enclave, Mothership, Old Republic, Satellite Years, Title Citadel, Throne of Dunes, and Winter's Madness as well. A decent array of maps is what I will say. Decent array. Here we had Clem. Clem takes down Girl 2-0, takes down Solar 2-0. Solar, who previously took down Beyond. Impressive play there by Solar to bring Beyond down. Clem, though, he goes for a much more dominant run, though. Takes down Solar, takes down Max Max, gets his revenge. Max Max beat Clem during the Water TV Monday, but during Monday Night Weekly, Clem, he gets his revenge over Max Max. Hero knocks Max Max out. We spoke earlier how you can argue that Hero has the best PvP in the world at the moment, where he's been beating Max Max and Clem on a Max Max and Classic on a much more regular basis. Here, does it again, does beat him again. But Clem, he does actually express his frustrations in TVP, takes out Max Max, and he 3-0s Hero. Very impressive play here by Clem. And again, this also shows like why this matchup is still in flux. Yes, Max Max beat Clem earlier, and then Clem beats Max Max here, and beats Hero here. Like, again, they've been trading back and forth. They have still been kind of like settling into that matchup, settling into that TVP. They've been trading blows, as we often expect between the top players. Have been trading blows, and once again, really cool to see Solar a part of this tournament. In the Monday Night Weekly, in the What Do You See Monday, it was Rogue and Lambo. Here it was Solar. So again, some Zerg representation, some Zerg matchups were able to be showcased. That leads us into this week's Pegasus Cup. We did cover this tournament as well. This is, of course, the more NA-focused weekly, but we had a lot of Korean representation and not much European representation except for Clem. Clem, he takes down Rebellion 2-0, takes down Creator 3-1. We did have a bit of a back and forth there, but Clem, he was looking much more in form, much more dominant. Once again, he was going for a faster second starport, delayed Academy, faster Viking production, shut down the Colossus play a little bit harder. Really solid play there out of Clem. And Clem takes down Solar 3-1 as well. Really fast series, really fast finals, to be honest. We saw some Hellbat all-ins, some delayed Hellbat pushes. We saw some relatively standard aggressive bio play as well. Clem was very much so in the face of Solar and did claim the win. 3-1 in a very intense finals, very intense best of 5. GG. It was impressive to see Sola make it to the finals. He took down Björn to make it to the finals as well. I believe, if I recall correctly, Shin did something similar. Does fall to Clem, but Clem is the best Terran player in the world, so it's hard for anyone to go up against him. I would say the players that typically can threaten Clem are the top players in the world, referring to Hero, Classic, Max Pack, Serral, and Raynor. Like, if you're not one of those players, and even then, those players aren't really the most favored. I still do favor Clem against Raynor and Serral, for example, and even against most Protoss players, or even against all of them, actually. So it's difficult to bring him down. Best Terran in the world, Clem does take the win. GG. GG, well played, Clem. He comes out on top, both in this Pickasso Monday and also in the Monday Night Weekly as well. GG. GG, well played. That leads us into the final tournament here, and also an upcoming event at that, the StarCraft 2's Safe House number 2 Qualifier 2. That's a lot of twos, baby. That's a lot of twos. Last week, we went over the first qualifier. I believe Juanito and Master made it through the first qualifier. Here in the second qualifier, we have some more Latin American representation. We have Eggs. Eggs takes down Davito, takes down Inexorable, takes down Foxer, and does qualify for the main event. Meanwhile, who comes out alongside Eggs? Foxer. Foxer takes down Maples 3-2-1. So shout out to Eggs and Huevito and Foxer for making it through, for qualifying for the event. And with that, I believe we have our confirmed players. Quickly checking the S2 Safe House Wikipedia page here. We do have our top players from the qualifier. We have Master, Special, Foxer, and Eggs. We have our top 4 from the qualifiers, and we have our 4 invited players as well. We have Estrella and Trigger for Protoss. We have Dolan for Terran. Apparently, it was going to be Epic. It was originally going to be Epic, but looks like Epic was unable to attend, so he was replaced by Dolan. And we have Cham for Zerg. Let's go. So in total, it's going to be Cham and Eggs from Zerg. We have Dolan, Special, and Foxer for Terran, and Estrella, Trigger, and Master for Protoss. So these are the best players in Latino America and North America as well. For the most part, are we missing anyone? I would say we're missing Future. Future is kind of like the other big Terran player that we expect to see here. You can make an argument that Future is the best Terran player in the Americas, better than Special, better than Foxer, better than Dolan. So there's no Future here. Likewise, Epic would be the other one, but of course Epic was unable to attend. But outside of that, I feel like this is like the best in the Americas. Actually, I would say, you can make an argument that we're missing Future. You can make an argument that we're missing Scarlet. Scarlet's the other one. But I believe Scarlet has been very inactive. So I'm sure they reached out to Scarlet, but unfortunately Scarlet was unable to attend. I'm sure we'll be seeing the return of Scarlet at some point, but for now, Scarlet is on hiatus. And that leads us into the round robin stage. That's going to be in 2 days. In 2 days' time, we're going to be the B stream. We're going to be a part of this event. We're going to be covering this event as well. As a reminder, this is a big event happening in Las Vegas. I believe a lot of town is traveling for this more than last time. Last time it was Zombie Grub, it was Zerg Girl, it was Chicken Man, Nathanius, and Steadfast, and Fear Dragon, of course, as well. And I think there might have been a couple of other guest appearances. But I believe this time, I think there's going to be a return of those that I just mentioned. Rotterdam is also traveling to Vegas to be a part of this, to be part of the event. And State also is traveling as well to the Americas to be part of this. So State is traveling, Rotterdam is traveling. I don't know if anyone else is. It's possible. It's possible we might have some more content creators and casters traveling as well. Let's double check here. It's not stated on the Wikipedia page. It's not listed there. But yeah, a lot of people are going to be traveling, so really cool to see. When it comes to the B stream, obviously the main stream is going to be featuring Zombie Grub and all those that are part of the event. The B stream is going to be ourselves. We have Bahama Gaming. We have Dave Testa as well. When it comes to the round robin stage, it's going to be a lot of matches. A lot of matches all happening at once. A lot of matches, a lot of StarCraft. It's going to be a long day of StarCraft. It's going to be brutal. But we'll be there for day 1. Day 2, there won't be a B stream. Just as a heads up, there will not be a B stream for day 2. That'll be all done by the main stream. We'll only be there for day 1. And I'll do my best to get as much sleep as possible. I'll get as much sleep as I can in the lead up to the SE2 Safe House. Unfortunately, there is no live audience. So if you're interested in the event and you're like, oh, it's in Vegas, maybe I can go. Unfortunately, again, there is no venue, there is no audience, there's nothing like that available. Unfortunately, it's just an Airbnb. But if you happen to be local, you happen to be in the Americas, if you are starving for some StarCraft, Cheesedelphia. If you're close to Philadelphia, there is the SE for All tournament happening coming into the beginning of November. So early November, big event happening in Philadelphia, and also right after that, a week after that, big event happening in Ottawa, Canada. That is, of course, the Stellarfest tournament. So there's two major events happening in the Americas that are open to the public, with some massive prize pools, with some big names traveling to compete. And of course, we have the S2 Safe House as well as the precursor to those LAN events. So we got some big LANs on the horizon, a lot of NA StarCraft coming into the end of the year. Really cool to see. Really cool to see S2 Safe House into SE for All into Stellarfest. Let's go. All the NA StarCraft. Or the NA StarCraft. But other than that, I believe that is us, in a sense, wrapping up. Again, we're a little bit lighter when it comes to topics this week, but plenty of tournaments taking place nonetheless. If you want to take part in some of these tournaments, qualifiers or open cups or amateur events, regional events, then sign up list over in the chat. We'll give you a link to the sign up list on Wikipedia. Again, up next, what do we have? We have the Wardy TV Monday. That's going to be tomorrow. Not on Monday, but we have a backup tournament here this Friday. So tomorrow we have Wardy TV Monday. We have the Masters Swan Open this weekend. That is our amateur tournament for Bronze to Masters 2 to 4.7k MMR. We have Waterfall Cup. I don't even know what that is. That's we have Chat StarCraft League. We have Sparkling Tunica. We have Legacy Weekly Japan.
Waterfall Cup is a new tournament by Mindel VK.
I assume so. We have Sunny Lake Cup, but we have Firegrow Cup. Now we have Waterfall Cup. It's on brand. It's thematic. It's very thematic. I don't know what theme it is, but it's all kind of in line with each other. Can't wait to see what the logo is. God damn it. But it looks like, it's an open tournament. Typically his tournaments are invitationals, or there's like qualifiers for like Firegrow Cup, I guess. But this is just a straight up open cup instead. Okay, cool. Let's go. Let us go. But yes, with that, you can check them out during using the sign up list. Otherwise, you can support us if you wish. You can support us via Patreon, !Patreon in the chat. Our Patreon is designed to fund our open tournaments on a monthly basis. Not just our open tournaments, just our tournaments in general. So tournaments like Sparkling Tunic Cup, Master Sword Open, Sea Duckling Open, all funded via Patreon. We've been recently getting a lot of support, and we've recently reached some new goals as well. So thank you so much for the support. We've gotten so much support in the chat, and you can help us grow our events even further. We actually posted recently on Discord to our patrons, to our subscribers, to our supporters, showcasing all of our upcoming goals. And the end goal for us, at least, is to be able to make monthlies a regular thing. If you're watching the channel, you know that we have had a monthly tournament for Tunic Cup for September. We're having one soon for October as well. We'll have one for November. We'll have one for December. That is because of very generous support and very generous donations from the chat. We would love to be able to get there next year just via Patreon, right? Just naturally grow ourselves and grow our Patreon and grow our tournaments to just facilitate for these monthly finals. Right now, we're only hosting them because of some generous donations in the chat. It'd be nice if we could facilitate for that coming into the upcoming year as well. So if you want to help us grow our tournaments and help us grow the scene and help us grow the Sparkling Tunic Cup and have these monthly finals, you can do so via Patreon. Otherwise, we'll just, of course, host our regular weeklies, as we always do. They're not going anywhere, of course. They're still going to be held on a regular basis. But of course, it would be nice to be able to grow our events and grow our Patreon to the point where we can have those monthly finals as well. Would be nice. Would be nice. So thank you so much to all of our supporters. We do appreciate it. Again, we've gotten our Patreon has grown so much specifically this year. It has grown immensely. So thank you so much for all the support, as always. And a big shout out to our patrons. Big shout out to Kuro as well. Kuro for handling the production and for constructing the topic list and making the podcast what it is. And of course, thank you everyone in the chat for tuning in as well. I know that there are other tournaments happening at the moment. We'll give them a raid as well. I think is it Luli Cup right now? No. Oh, sorry, it's OC. An OC cast is coming up. The OC King of the Hill is right around the corner. So I'm sure that's going to be covered by some of the other casters, maybe Steadfast, maybe Wardy. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thank you for the support. Also, very quickly, another quick announcement. The bunny cam. If you've been watching myself on my personal stream, I do stream semi-regularly on my personal channel over on light_VIP on Twitch. I have been recently having the bunny cam. I did end up ordering a wireless webcam. It is set up. It only lasts for 3 hours. It doesn't have the biggest battery, but it only lasts 3 hours. And I've been streaming with bunny cam, and I should be doing that soon here on the CranKy Ducklings as well. Should be on the CranKy Ducklings. So look forward to that. Look forward to that. Basically, tomorrow for the next cast, we should be featuring some bunnies there. You'll be able to, if you haven't been joining us on Discord or watching my personal stream, you'll be introduced to my new pet bunnies. They're amazing. They're beautiful. They're very cute. You can check them out. Check them out tomorrow. Oh. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks so much for the support. We do appreciate it. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the next Wardy tournament, which we should be casting, of course, when it comes to the rest of our schedule. So tomorrow we're live with Wardy TV Monday in less than 24 hours. The day after, we're going to be live with MSO, and right after Master Swan Open, after a brief break, we're going to be live with the SE2 Safe House group stage. So it's going to be a very intense weekend, staying up late to be able to cover the SE2 Safe House. I'll do my best to be well rested and to have maybe some caffeine on hand as well, to stay awake and just survive. I'll do my best. And when it comes to other things on the horizon, RSL. The RSL Season 3 qualifiers are also going to be next weekend. Oh boy. So a lot of StarCraft. It's all kicking back up again. With that, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you so much to Kura for hosting, and being the production behind the event. And stick around. We'll be rating another StarCraft 2 streamer. Till then, hasta luego. Ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego. See you next time.